Folks, I want to show y'all something. This is that deer stand that's right up against my fence, and I just never did anything facetious. I just left it. But I want to show you something. I'm out in my field right now, and you look where that thing's unzipped and facing towards. Yeah, opened up for right over here, looking right into my place. Look at this. I'm not going to mess with it. Of course, I don't want to be the one breaking the law. Got a little trash off in there. Yeah. See, they've been hanging out in there. Right on the fence, look here. Sorry. Yeah. So you heard me say recently that, you know, you start getting that pressure from the outside with these farms. You know, you got big money coming in, buying this land up at super high prices. Then the county adjusts the tax assessments according to those super high prices. Then the simple folk that's been around here for a long time, and this happens all over the country and the world, then now their places become super valuable. The tax assessments have went super high, even on an old home, and just a home that's not even much of nothing. And the land becomes super valuable. What they'll do is they'll praise the land up super high, even if they don't raise the house much, because of course they'll go down and look at my old house. My old house ain't worth nothing. And yeah, but the land that it's sitting on is. So let's jack the land side and barely move the house side. So that's what they'll do. And maybe the people can't afford that kind of taxes. Those kind of tax payments like that start becoming almost equal to paying rent somewhere. And then they look at the side of it. Well, I could take that money, look what we could do with that money. And we could go off further somewhere away and buy a piece of property away from all these new people, you know. And so they cave in and they cash in and they sell it. The new person comes in and out with their old house, up with the big high dollar home. They all keep whoop, 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 bringing the taxes up. New house over here, old house gone, taxes up. Oh, look, there's a new home there. It'd be a beautiful place right next door to build a new home. Let's build one even better. Boom, taxes up, taxes up, taxes up. They tax it right out. Then the next thing is where I come down to this. When you're a small community, like we've been out here for a long, long time, and all these people are rooted in with each other, and if occasional new person comes in and they're just a simple person, they inject into the community and they become a new part of the community. They become a good new neighbor. And you know, people with moderation, not being all flamboyant and look at me with everything they do. Well, those people are pretty good. But when you have people that buy this piece of property out here and all it is a playground for them because they got more money than they do sense sometimes, or they just don't give a maybe their home, like this guy, is up in a real nice secluded neighborhood by the city. I know right where it is, and I've seen it. And did my little due diligence online. And they buy a place out here like this, and it's just a playground for them. They don't give a rat's butt about me, that guy over there, that guy over there, or that guy over there. In fact, if they can drive you out, their mission is accomplished. Just push the pressure, push the pressure, push the pressure. Then when he sells, buy it. Boom. And this is what happens, man. I'm telling you. In the small community, this happens right here. You're going to have to face each other up here at the local store, little community store, and people are going to talk about it. And the social pressure of the act right in our community is going to be on that person. Or you're going to sit down in church with each other, and you're going to face each other in church. Well, they're all going to sit around and they're going to say, hey, man, you know, you're kind of like not being right over here with this guy. And the community helps be almost like a tribal council to help fix those problems. And then maybe you had a good old boy sheriff. Now, I don't mean good old boy like does dirty deeds. I mean good old boy like he is born and raised in the community. He knows the people. We're close bonded. He knows the people, not just your own community and your larger scale community of the county or something. He knows what life is here. Well, then maybe he's going to step forward, just give the guy a call and say, hey, you know, let's just kind of keep problems down. You know, it'd be better if you didn't really do that. And I know you're within your rights on your property, but it would just probably be better. And but my sheriff's department on the golf ball thing, on any of this, is like when they do something wrong and you've got it on footage and it's undeniable proof, and basically you do the investigation work on the golf balls, you do the investigation work, you do everything in your power to present all the evidence, and then we'll look at it. Man, I grew up around law enforcement, and that's not the way it worked. You reported this problem, my cows are dying up here with golf balls. And they filled out a report. You filled out a report, wrote it out and everything. And you gave a case number. And then CID, an investigator, would start looking into it. And this investigator will go around to any of the possibilities of where that could have come from. So, you know, you've only got 3 neighbors, right? Well, all you got to do is check out 3 neighbors. And the other people up here in my family, and you know, they didn't do it. And they didn't come from their direction either. And then you look and you say, well, I look across here, and there's only one direction those could have came from, and a spray pattern just like bullets, just like a spray pattern with fluid. It's pretty obvious to see the concentration point and where they're coming out from. It had to be from there. We need to go over and have a talk with this guy. No, They want me to catch them in the act of doing it, get it recorded, have witnesses, and then present it to them, and then they'll open a case. My jaw dropped, but you know why? Here's why I'm going back. Why? Because maybe the ones in there now are on the same team as the new people, the new developers, because then they bring their friends in that are not part of the community, they're not part of our system we had here, and they bring these outsiders in, just like Dallas has done and Fort Worth's done. You know, they're bringing these outsiders. I don't know, Fort Worth, I think they've kind of kept it in-house recently. They'll bring in people that don't know the area, and they don't know the situations and how the fluid moves, and they usually team up with the other outsiders. And so there you have it. So I know I'm ranting here and I'm telling you, but this is the truth of another piece of how I feel that I'm being pressured in on this farm. I'm gonna give you guys another, for instance. Have something else that's happened right when we're getting ready to go. Over behind my house where I live, I got a tract of land there. That is our winter pasture. We hold that every year for so long as our winter pasture. And the man that owns that land, he has been a absolutely wonderful neighbor. Him and his son, man, wonderful neighbors. Get along, just work with each other as smooth as possible, real nice, respect each other. They talk real nice and kind with me. I talk real nice and kind with them. We give each other heads up on what we're going to be doing, and we work together. Well, my dear neighbor, he's getting older, and a while back he stopped me and told me that He was, or actually I may have stopped him, and when we're just talking at the fence talk, you know, and he told me that he was already 81. I'm like, what? I wouldn't have thought it, man. He just didn't look 81 to me. And he said, yeah, and I just can't do this much longer. He was doing a little mowing with the tractor, and he said, I think I'm gonna lease my property out. And so he already had, I guess, a plan in mind. Had already been discussion of who that person was going to be. Well, then didn't hear nothing else about it. That was last spring. And recently, I called him a couple of weeks ago, and I said, hey, I'm going to give y'all heads up that first of the year, I'm going to be moving my cows back in the winter over there. And they have cows right across the fence. Now, why that's important is, in case you guys don't know, is if you got these big old beefy territorial bulls, you know, and you got just a little old barbed wire fence, they start fighting, bumping heads, and if they can touch, they'll go into a fight, and then that fence is nothing. Wire's probably going to get wrapped up on them, cut them up. They're probably going to punch a rib, punch a lung, break the important part down below. And you're going to have a bull loss and worse, and cows get mixed together, and it's just a big old mess. So you want to work with your neighbor. Well, I said, no problem. And you're going to have your bull in there? Yeah, yes, I'm going to have my bull in there. Okay, well, we appreciate you letting us know. No problem, because this is what we do. Well, time has clicked closer here to the first. And the cows of his are still there. And I said, well, I guess he's just going to keep them in there all the way to the last minute. And that's okay, all right? And so I thought just courtesy call again. I'd give a shout and say something to him, and just maybe a reminder. Might have forgot. Like I say, he's getting up in years as well. And they're busy people. His son runs a business. They have a body shop. And so I said, hey, I just want to remind you that I'm going to be putting these cows in back there, and I noticed they're still there. Well, what had happened in between there is I had received a text message. Back up a little bit. I want to regress here just a little bit. And I received a text message from a guy, a number I didn't know, saying, hey, I leased their property, and that's my cattle back there, and telling me that I need to make a schedule with him. Well, and he was kind of really, his wording was pretty bossy. I'm just kind of giving the light of it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to deal with here? So I really didn't want to deal with that guy, so I just called back to the owners, you know, and I said, hey, I noticed he hasn't moved his cows, and would y'all say something to him, because his message seemed a little pointed and kind of like pushy, and he's just a leaser, and he's new to the game with us here as far as that. And I said, yeah, let's give him a shout. And I said, well, I just don't want to get in a confrontation with that guy, because I know he's a hothead. And because years ago, he also used part of that property at one point in time and turned some horses in there and got into it big time with my next door neighbor over horses. I mean, it got pretty bad. I said, oh, here we go. Now he's going to do cows instead of horses, and now he's going to fight with me. Well, the guy started contacting me again through text, and he said he's asking if I can put my cows somewhere else. No, that's been my winter pasture for years. And then he asked me, all right, or he tells me, all right, I'll move them 1 month. I'll put them back in the 1st of February. I said, no, sir. I'm going to be gone until spring, and that is my winter pasture. I've been doing this for years. We've been running cows in there since '57. And here is the words that got me right here. His words was, I don't care how long you've been running cows there. I need that winter pasture on that hill where the side he leased, and he's going to put his cows there. And I said, well, our bulls are going to fight. And he tells me that he wants to work with me. You know, he says, his word says that he wants to work with me, but he's not working with me. And the thing is, they have way more property than I do too. Way more property. He has way more options than I do. I saw fields lay out this past year that grass got up 5-6 foot tall, not even an animal in there, you know. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I've got an alpha dog on the hill. He's going to be the new guy on the block, and he's going to show that that dominance. And I said, well, sir, I own my land, and I'm going to run my cattle on my property. They will be there until the end of April, and that is that. So don't know how this is going to turn out, but once again, push, 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 and man, you just feel it from every direction. And I could continue with these stories that are going on, but I'm gonna close it out, just give y'all a little idea of what's happening in our neck of the woods. And I was talking to a guy last night that's all the way up in Arkansas, or actually he's in Oklahoma, up near around by Broken Bow, or I believe that's where he said. Anyway, he was telling me the same thing is happening there. The same. Yeah, just thought you're gonna have a peaceful place. Think they come in and be respectful, but they don't. Well, I won't let it stop me. I'm strong. I'm tough. That's right. That is right. Everybody, I'll see you the next video. Have a great day.